Hello there, welcome to another Starfield video. So we're going to be continuing our little series, mini-series, of starter vessels built using the various manufactured parts. So today we're going to be looking at the Taiyo starter ships that I've built. So as you can see, it's like the other videos, wanted to make a starter vessel that was capable of being used by low-level players. You have to be around level 10 to build this. It requires no perks, and the only real kind of thing is, the only kind of requirement is you need to have about 100k. Now for some people that might be a little daunting, but don't worry. When you get to around level 10, you should have that amount of money. But if you don't have that amount of money, I would recommend doing some of the bounty missions where you go and clear out pirates or like mercs from like the abandoned buildings on planets. Usually a good run of them can net you like between 10 and 20k. So you do a couple of them and you get the job done. Anyway, yeah, let's get into it. So I went with the color red because one of the commenters, I'm just gonna double check. I just wanted to check. I kind of had a feel it was Agamemnon, but I was just double checking. We had Agamemnon in the chat. We did it for anyone that cares. I do a live stream every Friday around 7:30 p.m. GMT. So if you're like in America, it's around between 2 and 3. But yeah, in the chat while I built this, Agamemnon, one of my subscribers, cool guy, he was like, you should make it red, Ryusian red, which I agreed. I thought that was a cool idea, and yeah, that's why I went the color. So anyway, let's get into the stats of the vessel. So it's got a fuel of 200, which, see, when you're starting off, they're all going to have around that. I try to aim to have at least 200 so you can kind of make jumps if you need to. But obviously you don't want to worry too much about like having a high kind of jump distance. Because you want to be exploring. If you're low level, you always want to be landing on planets, checking stuff out. It's got a hull of 496, almost 500, which is really, really good for an A-class vessel. It'll make combat that much easier. It's got a cargo of 845. We've got some sneaky little storage options. You can potentially see them. I might be blind, I can't currently see them. But they're there. A-class reactor, 18 power. Around level 10, this is kind of the best reactor you can get your hands on. It's more than enough power for the current setup. The only downside is when you fly it, you're not going to be able to have full pips for everything, but I'll show you how I run it. It's got a crew of 2, which bit small, but you could definitely improve upon that if you wanted to. It's got a jump range of 18 light years. It's got a shield of 390, which is really, really good. That's a very nice shield for kind of entry level. And it's got 2 sets of weapons. We have a missile launcher that is hidden inside the front little fairing. And then we have 2 particle weapons. So altogether, the cost to make this is 91,450. Now, I made this based off the Frontier, which is kind of like the easiest. The only thing is, if you do make it off the Frontier, eventually, if you try to sell it, you can't. So there's that, but it's not really a huge issue. Anyway, let's go check it out. So here we have it here. As you can see, I used only Taiyo pieces. I went with these Taiyo landing gear as opposed to the Taiyo have a kind of a full semi-cylindrical landing gear, but I think these look cooler in the long run. And then I added these top pieces up here because I quite like these little struts. They're really, really cool, and obviously you can add more weapons to them later on. And then at the back we went with 2 sets of engines, I believe. Did we? No, we only have 1 set of engines. Oh no, did we? No, we did. Okay. So we used the merge technique there. We merged 4 of those little White Wolf engines in there to give us that max mobility. That doesn't, just for anyone that is kind of new to the merging, it doesn't affect performance at all. It still flies. Thankfully, there's no if this was Space Engineers, that ship would tear apart immediately if you had damage turned on. But yeah, it all functions quite well. Anyway, let's hop in. You got Taiyo entryway. So as with all of my ships, for starships, I like to have a captain's quarters, a workstation, workshop, and an armory. So we have the workshop in here. We've got the weapons workbench, the industrial workbench, and the spacesuit workbench. Now, sadly, Taiyo, which is based off of Hope Tech, they don't have the research station, which is a bit of a letdown. But the plus side is you have this really premium chair, like extremely premium. And a ladder with a light. Taiyo, you couldn't have mounted a light on the ceiling or the floor? Okay, anyway, moving on. So if we go to the next level, we have the armory. Now, the armory it kind of also acts as a jail cell, which it's not bad. I mean, it's a bit weird having your weapons here. It's like you're taunting your prisoners. This would be a really cool room if they had like bounty missions where you had to bring people back. We might get that in the future, hopefully, because then this room makes sense. And then if we come back this way, we have the captain's quarters here. Very nice, very, very, very comfy. We got a nice little bed here. Got a table where you can play poker with your crewmates. Don't play with Vasco, he cheats. We got a stool here. We got the navigation console, which is really, really cool. And then up here we have the... This is just kind of a 2x1 area. This should be a 2x1 area. I'm not sure why it's not. That's kind of weird. I will have to check that. Wait, where is... Okay, now I'm confused. Oh, yeah, it is. Why are they not connected? What? Okay, that's a little weird. But they're both connected together, so you could potentially pull them out if you want to put an infirmary up here, and then we've got the docking port above. Now if we drop back down, and we go through the armory to the bridge. I kind of like the idea of having, like, the armory here, because, like, if you're getting boarded, you can be like, well, this character only punches stuff, so, like, the point doesn't really get across, but you can be, like, covering, you know, like, that kind of Star Wars-esque scene where, like, the rebel troopers are, like, trying to block the bridge, basically, and Darth Vader's like, he's like, yeah, I've come for my children. I think that's how Star Wars goes. Anyway, oh, I just closed myself. Got the Taiyo bridge. I've said this many times. It's a really cool bridge. It kind of makes me think of like a kind of a space like kind of yacht. Don't like those chairs being there though. Your crew will yap your ear off. Anyway, we're gonna head into space. My character looks like he was like, he's not meant to be flying this ship. Like he's one of like the ground crew, and he decided to take it for a spin. So yeah, so when you're flying this, you've got a little bit of pips to kind of manage. Oh, that ground crew guy is dead. He has just been hit with several thousand degrees of hydrogen thrusters. Or is it helium? Helium. Never mind, it's not helium. Probably not. No, helium solder, I would assume. I'm not a scientist. Anyway, so what I like to do is I like to have full pips into particles, and then I have 1 pip into missiles, full pips into shields, and then the rest into engines. Now, weapon-wise, we have those particle weapons there, and then we have the missiles. Now, in this current configuration, if you were going to fly, because you wouldn't have max pips to engines, you're looking at about 88 movement speed, with a boost speed of 330, which is not too bad. Now, if you were just flying around, you could definitely put more pips into the engines, which brings your speed up to 150, which is more kind of what you would expect. And then, if we just wait for the boost, I think it's going to boost to around 600, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it boosts to 580, which is pretty decent. Quick little agility test. This thing is max agility. As you can see, nice little roll. Very nice. The yaw. Also very nice. And then the... Alright, so I meant to say pitch. Alright, so now we're going to go down to the planet, and I'm going to show you where to build it. Alright, so here we are, where I built the ship. So we are at the Taiyo Astroneering building in the Ryusian Tower. So this Ryusian Tower, it's on Neon. So Neon is on Volite Alpha, and there is Volite. So here it is over here. There's Alpha Centauri, and there's Sol. So when you land on Neon and you come like to the main kind of hub of Neon, you take a left and you go to the end of like the kind of the street, and you'll see a big kind of red tower with red security guards. There's an elevator in the back of the side of the room, and you take it up to this, and you talk to this woman. So now we're going to get to the teardown. Alright, so here it is, tore down. So we're going to go through all the pieces needed. All of these pieces can be found at the Taiyo Engineering building. So we've got the Samurai cockpit from Taiyo, 200 cargo, 2 crew. We have the shipbed landing bay 200 from Taiyo. We have the Taiyo captain's quarters 2x1 top B. The Taiyo workshop 2x1 bottom B. The extender port 200 docker from Taiyo. 2 of these 2x1 or 1x1 companionway top A. And then a Taiyo Armory 2x1 top B. Now for the modules, we have an R2000 Alpha Grav Drive from Relodyne, A class, 9 power, 20 grav jump thrust, which in the current configuration gives us 18. We have the Bastille S81 shield generator from Nautilus, A class, 4 power, 390 max shield, which is pretty good. We have the Tokamak X100 reactor from Xi'an, A class, 18 power. It's kind of the best power you're realistically going to be getting at this level. And then we have 4 of these White Dwarf 1010 engines from Relodyne, A class, 3 max power, 7950 engine thrust, and 2535 maneuvering thrust, giving us 4 of these, giving us 100 mobility. And then for the weaponry, we have a pair of PB30 auto electron, or sorry, not auto electron beams, just the electron beams. A class, 3000 range, 3.49 fire rate, 13 hull and shield damage, and 3 power. And then for our secondary weapon, we have the CE-9 missile launcher from Ballistic Solutions Incorporated. A class, 4000 range, 1 fire rate, 36 hull and shield damage, and 3 power. For the storage, we have 2 of these Degama 1000 cargo holds from Panoptes, 210 each. We have a single Caravel V101 cargo hold from Protectorate Systems, 225. We have 2 of these M30 Ulysses Helium-3 tanks from Dogstar, 100 each. We have 4 Pinpoint 4G landing gear from Taiyo. These are the 4G Plus. So these ones, like, there's a couple of different... Apparently, there's not a couple of different versions of this, so never mind. And then structural pieces. So we have 4 of these Taiyo mid-caps here. They're all the same. They're just kind of like... just kind of sit differently. We have 4 of these top caps, mid-caps again. They're the same piece, just flipped. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. We have 3 of these equipment plates, so we can mount our weapons from Taiyo. Really, really nice. We have 4 of these Taiyo nose caps. We have 2 facing forward and 2 facing back, like so. We have 4 of these Taiyo spine Bs. So there's the main difference between the spine A and the spine B is it has a snap point on the top, so you can put weapons. And then we have 4 of these Taiyo cowlings, 2 top and 2 bottom. So let's get to work making it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make the bottom first. So I like to snap the workshop to the landing bay just because it's convenient having the landing bay kind of there. And then we put the cockpit above that. And then behind the cockpit we have our armory like so. And then we have the captain's quarters behind that. We're going to put the grav drive there underneath the captain's quarters. And then we're going to also put the reactor there. Next, we're going to mount on the top. We're going to mount these 2 companionways. Now, these are just kind of here to act as basically like extra space for the extended docker. Now, you could definitely delete these and replace them with like an infirmary. Like I was saying, you could put, if you wanted to, let's say, for instance, you want to put an infirmary up here, you could definitely do that, or a crew station. That is completely up to you. I just went with these because it's just more convenient. Now, next we're going to attach the top pieces. So our engines first. So the engines basically sit 2 and 2, like so, to each side. So when I make these ships, I try to make them that you can kind of upgrade them as you go along. So I give like a little bit of kind of room for improvement. And this ship will definitely serve you up into B tier, which is really, really nice. So now with those there, we're going to get to work on these pieces here, these snapping pieces. So what we're going to do is we're going to snap. There's 4 of them all together. So we're going to snap 2 each side, like so. Well, my game is being slightly problematic. I'm going to bring this over. Oops. And then we are going to, we need to put the these pieces here. See, these pieces, these kind of sit one there like so, and one there like so. Now we actually extend this at the bottom like that. Now you can, the Nautilus, you can put the shield generator there, and then use the merge glitch to just kind of put it there. So to do the merge glitch, you just snap it, press your flip button, and then let go of it, and then that's perfect in position. Now next we're going to snap these little pipe pieces, like so. Alright, so yeah, so we're just basically, we're like snapping these together. We're making use of the merge technique. So you just basically flip that and then flip it back. Now sometimes it will do that, it'll teleport a little bit, but you don't have to worry too much about that. And then we're just going to do the same thing on the other side. We're going to bring these up. And these pieces. Now these pieces, they're here purely as like they look cool aesthetically in my opinion, but they're also there like as a kind of a, like, if you ever need to remove them, you could definitely do that. So again, we're going to just snap this piece in here. You flip it a few times and then let go of it. Perfect. Now we're going to work on getting our landing gear. So for the landing gear, we're going to snap one there. Going to snap another one there. Now this one is going to have problems snapping because the engine's there. So you're just going to, in order to snap it, we're going to remove the bottom engine briefly. Snap this in. And then you're going to put the engine back. It's going to not want to snap. Or it will snap, but it'll go red, so you just flip it back, let go of it. Perfect. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Just move these both here together. So the front piece will snap nice and easy. Back piece, we're going to have to remove the engine again. Snap it in. And then just, once it snaps, flip it back. And next, we're going to add the fuel tanks. So we're going to snap a fuel tank each side there on the back. And then we're going to do the other thing. Same thing on the other side, like so. Oh, not there. Oops. And then for our cargo pieces, we're going to snap one each side beside the fuel tanks. They're both there, like so. And then finally, what we're going to do is we have these pieces here. These are just to kind of cover up the fuel tanks. So you're going to snap them and just keep flipping them until they go back to the original point, like so. Sometimes they can drop down. If they do drop down, just click on them and they should snap back up. And we're going to do the same thing over here. We're just going to flip them a little bit. Like I said, if they drop down, just tap A on them. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Just flip them. That one's perfect. It didn't flip. Nice. And then the last piece of the puzzle. Now, what we want to do, we want to add our weapons next. Actually, we'll finish off the ship before we add the weapons. So these pieces just snap here on the front, and they're just kind of there to kind of smooth it out and make it look a little bit less boxy. And then same on the back. Now, these on the back might have a little bit of difficulty because there's technically engines in the way. Let me see, is there? Yeah, okay, so you're just going to basically grab one, snap it, flip it back. Same again, flip it back. So, like I've said in the past with these videos, these like merge techniques, there's no like negative to them. The only kind of negative is that like there is clipping, so you can kind of see the clipping, but it's not a huge issue. Obviously, if you don't like that, that's understandable, but if you're kind of like nervous, you're like, oh, what happens if it like, you know, breaks my game, or like I get in trouble, anything that you can't. I've been using these for like several hundred hours. I've never had any issues with them. And like, it's the sort of thing, it's like, it's a single player game. Bethesda are not going to ban you or anything like that, so don't worry. And then finally, I added this piece here just because I wanted to kind of level out the cargo. So there's a couple of places this can snap. You have to remember. Yep, there is. So I'm going to snap this basically under the front landing gear beside it. So you can see it, flip it, it snaps in there. But we're going to flip it back, let go of it. And then that is it. Now, like I was saying, there's definitely room for improvement. For instance, you can remove these pieces and you can put another one up top there. You could also remove these side panels and you could put extra space there. Same on the other side if you wanted to. It's like, I try to make these ships so that like you can kind of evolve with them. So like maybe you like, you know, ships and stuff, but you're kind of a bit hesitant to build. You could build one of these and then you can, you know, slowly make some upgrades. But yeah, that was the ship. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I think it turned out quite good. It kind of like looks similar because when I make these ships, I try to make them, obviously, I want them to look like Taiyo, but I don't want to just copy Taiyo designs. And Taiyo ships are kind of tricky because they all tend to have the same shape. But yeah, as always, thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments what you think and if you could see yourself rocking this ship. Don't forget to subscribe if you like this sort of content and check out some other videos. Bye-bye.